In this video, we're going to talk about the new ribbon user experience in FeatureCAM 2018 and how you can customize the ribbon to suit your programming needs. So I'll start out here on the main page of the software. You open the software, we land on this page right here, and we can create a new document from any of the available document types. These are the modules that exist in your bundle of FeatureCAM, so this might vary. You can open a recent document. The last 10 documents you open will appear in this list, and you can select one of those, and those will, of course, will rotate as you open new files. If there's a file that you would like to remain in the recent documents, you can pin it to this menu and it will stay available and the other documents will rotate through. You can also open other documents by browsing. But I'll just open a milling document and I'll cancel the new stock wizard and get straight to the ribbon. And the ribbon is this large bar you see across the top of the user experience. It organizes the software into tabs. Each tab is organized into groups, and this makes it very easy to learn the software, to find commands. It gives it a nice flow from start to finish. So this is how the software looks straight out of the box. I haven't customized anything. And we have a File tab. This is the area we call the Backstage area. It has all of the part documentation that you can fill in, plus the main file commands like new and open and close and save. You can also get to a share section where you can bundle up your project to send to tech support or maybe send to a colleague. And you can get to an options section right here, which I'll show you in a minute. But I'll back into the file here. And you can see we also have a home tab organized into groups. It's a nice flow from start to finish throughout a project. You can manipulate the display, show and hide things. You can program your part, define the stock, create your setups, create your features. You can create geometry, curves, surfaces, and solids. Solids are only available in the premium or ultimate version of FeatureCAM. These sections here go to the main constructors. You can see all of the geometry constructors organized in one menu, and the curves, surfaces, and solids launch the wizards. There's a simulation section, an NC code section, clipboard for cutting, copying, and pasting special, the part library, select and edit, options, and collaborate. Now the options section has a new function, and this is what I alluded to in the backstage area. You can get into a single dialog for all of the options in the software now. The options used to be scattered about a little bit. There were some options under the File pull-down menu. There were some under the Options pull-down, obviously, and there were yet other options under the Manufacturing menu. They've now been unified into one nice, concise dialog box. So you can find all of your file options, your posting options, your viewing options, etc. right here in one nice dialog box. And again, you can get to it a couple different ways. You can get to it from the backstage area right here, the gear icon, which exists on the home tab of the ribbon, plus there's a gear icon up here on the quick access toolbar, which we'll also talk about in a little while. Okay, so some other tabs here. The construct tab, and it's very logical. It's just all of the construction elements. You have your snapping modes, all of your geometry broken out into more detail, the line constructors, the circle constructors, etc. Curves again broken down into smaller groups, surfaces and solids. Features in manufacturing, so different ways of creating features, the regular feature dialog. And it's important to note that the navigation through the wizard is all that's changed about the software. Once you execute a command, it takes you to the same wizards and same constructors that have been in the software for a while. So it's not a complete new interface. It's just the ribbon user experience across the top. Okay, so we have AFR, milling from dimensions, milling from curves. So again, we're breaking things down into a little more detail. Obviously, we're in a milling document, but if we were in a turning document, you would see turning from dimensions, turning from curves, etc. Patterns and groups, your tool management here with your tool mapping, tool manager, cribs, materials for feeds and speeds, and your machining attributes and machining configurations. a viewing tab that has all the viewing manipulation and options, and add-in tabs for your add-in macro. And of course, I will go into this in a little more detail when we get into the customization. Okay, so this is how it looks straight out of the box. What if you do want to customize? What if you want to maybe eliminate some of the stock elements up here and maybe add some of your own? There are a couple ways you can get there. The easiest way is to go into some blank space and hit your right mouse button. Now, before I do, it's important to remind you that there are, in fact, two elements here. I mentioned both of them, but I want to point them out now. First of all, you have the quick access toolbar. It's the one toolbar, other than the simulation toolbar, it's the one toolbar that remains in the software. And this can be customized as well. So we have the quick access toolbar and we have the ribbon. So I'm going to right click out in space. I'm going to, first of all, I'll customize the quick access toolbar because this is more like the toolbar customization that you might be used to. Okay, so I can see all of the commands that currently exist on the quick access toolbar. So new part, open, save, etc. So if there's something here I don't want for some reason, I can click on it and I can remove it from the toolbar. So I could take save, for example. I don't know why you would want to get rid of that, but I could take save and I could remove it, and then I could go find it and add it back. So there's save. If I want to change the order of my buttons, I can move it up and down using these up and down arrows. So I'll put that right back where it was. If I want to add a new button, I can find what I'm looking for from a couple sources here. First of all, I can go for commands that are not in the ribbon. And there really aren't very many. So if there's something specific I'm looking for, I can look here. I can also look to the main section, and this is that backstage area I showed you earlier. So the import, export, options, send email, all of that stuff is also available. And then we can look through the main tabs of the ribbon. So I can go to this print preview tab. It's not really a tab on the ribbon, but it has some options for you here. The home tab, the construct tab, etc. So one button I like to have on the quick access toolbar, just as an example, is an import button. I don't like having to go to the backstage area to get there. So I'm going to go and find it. I happen to know it's right here on the commands not in the ribbon, and I'll add it. And again, I can move it around in order. So I can move it up. Maybe I want to put it right after open. Another thing I can do is, of course, I can keep adding more buttons, but I can also add separators. So to keep my toolbar from getting too cluttered looking, I can add these separators, and it will give me just a little visual break in the toolbar. So I'll put a second one in there while I'm at it, and I'm going to put them on either side of the import button, like so. Okay, now I click OK, and you can see that my quick access bar now includes the import button with the separator on each side. So really easy to edit the quick access toolbar. Now let's talk about editing the ribbon itself. So right click, I can customize the ribbon. Of course, I could put the quick access toolbar underneath the ribbon, so between the ribbon and the graphics. I can customize the ribbon and I can minimize the ribbon. So I'll customize it. Again, we had the same source of commands not in the ribbon, the main section, main tabs. We can get to all of these commands. And then here is how my ribbon is constructed at present. So again, it's stock straight out of the box. And I can do some things with the stock ribbons. First of all, if there's a particular tab that I don't want, I can't remove it entirely, but I can turn it off. So it's like turning off a feature. If I uncheck it and click OK, that home tab is now gone. The good news is it's not deleted. I can always go back and retrieve that home tab. Now there's some other things I can do. I can't really remove commands. So if I go to my display group, you'll see that the commands are dimmed out and the add and remove buttons are dimmed out as well. So I really can't manipulate the groups that are there, but I could remove a group entirely. I could just take that group and remove it. Click OK. Now the Home tab is back, but the display section is gone. It's not really going to be easy to get that back in terms of just turning it back on, but you can feel free to experiment with this, because if you really make a mess, if you get things to where you want to put back the defaults, there's this nice reset button right here. And this will undo all of the customization of the ribbon. You can also do the same thing on the quick access toolbar, and it puts everything back just the way it was when you installed the software. So you feel free to experiment. So again, I can only do so much manipulation of the main tabs and the main groups. I can delete groups, I can turn tabs off, I can add groups to tabs. So I could go to the Home tab and I could create a new group. Okay, so within the Home tab, I'm going to create a new group, and I'll just click on it again and rename it to Test. Okay. And now I have a custom group that I can add commands to. So I can go to Close, for example, add that, Open, add that. You can see how I can build this up. Click OK. Now I have a new group on my stock tab. So in addition to creating custom groups on an existing tab, I can create my own tabs as well. So I'm going to go back to customize the ribbon. I can see all of my main tabs here. I'm going to create a new tab. You can see that it places the new tab on the ribbon, and it places a group on the tab. The tabs have to have groups. You can't just put commands by themselves onto a ribbon. You have to have them within groups. So I'm going to rename my tab. I'll call this My Tab. Click OK. And now I'll go rename the group. Now there's some curve commands that I like to use all the time, so I think I'll rename this group Curve Tools and click OK. And now I can start building this up with commands. So I'm going to go with the main tabs. I'm going to go to Construct, Curves, and there I can find all of the curve commands that I want. So the ones I like in particular are Surface Projection. I'll add that. Surface Edges, and to Geometry. And you can see them being built into my group of My Tab. Okay, click OK. Now I have My Tab right here with my custom group, curve tools, etc. Okay, so you can change these tabs all around. You can get rid of all of the stock tabs, you can replace them with your own, or you can just edit what's there and tweak the interface to work exactly the way you want to work. Now I'd like to return to the Add-ins tab and explain how this works. We have a couple groups. We have the Add-ins group, and that has the library where you can turn macros on and off. There's the basic IDE editor and the run basic macro command. And then we have the active macros that are listed right here. So I don't have any turned on right now. I'll go into manage, and this works just as it has in prior versions. I'll go to the library. Maybe I want to use the vortex milling calculator. So I will search for that and load it and click OK. And that gets added. And so that's how you can manage your macros. Now, if you need to add an icon for a macro or maybe change the icon of a macro, that is still possible using this little button here in the lower right-hand corner. Manage user-defined macros. You can come down here. You can create a new button by hitting the new item, give it a name, assign it to a macro, and assign it an icon. And I'll just cancel that out. Okay, there's one more item when it comes to customization that I want to talk about, and that's your keyboard shortcuts. And I'm bringing those up because those are customized with the ribbon. If I go to customize the ribbon, I can see keyboard shortcuts right here. Okay, so I can go to customize, and this works just as it has in prior versions. You can look for a command, find out if it has a shortcut. If not, you can assign a shortcut. So for example, if you want a shortcut that hides all features, I can go into View, kind of scroll down the list. I can see Hide All Features, and it currently does not have a shortcut. If it did, I could see it and I could change it. So I'm going to create a new shortcut. I'm going to use Control-Alt-F. I can see that that combination is currently unassigned, so I can safely assign it to hide all features without unassigning it from something else. So I'll assign that. It is now the current key, and close. Now if I go to create a quick feature, whole finish, click OK. There's my new feature. And if I want to hide it, Control-Alt-F. Okay, so I hope you see that there are lots of ways you can customize the new FeatureCAM user experience. The whole idea is we want the software to be easier to learn and easier to use, not only for new users, but for experienced users as well. So once you're comfortable with the software and you want to customize the workflow, you can do so by customizing the quick access toolbar, the ribbon itself, or the keyboard shortcuts.